Hello, lovely people of the world.
Magandang araw sa inyo lahat.
안녕하세요, 여러분.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
This is Justin and Sarah and Sabrina. In today's video, we'll recap our labor and delivery experience.
Yep.
So we're gonna start from the night before the delivery day, which is the January 15th.
So about 3 to 5-ish, early in the morning of January 15th, I started to feel contractions that were sort of ranging every 15 minutes. It wasn't what our OB instructed, which is like when your contractions are 5 minutes apart and each contraction lasts about a minute long, and all that happens in a cycle of 1 hour, that's when you go to the hospital. Or if my water breaks, she says, or if I feel decreased fetal movement. So since my contractions were spaced out way more than 5 minutes apart, I'm gonna wait till it progresses. But then by 5:30-ish, I slept. I think I woke up around 9 or 10 and there were no contractions whatsoever.
Early in the morning, I already called my work saying that I'm not gonna be coming into work because Sarah was going into contraction at 3 in the morning, so I thought that today's the day that we're gonna go to the hospital, so I should stay close to my wife so that we can dash out to the hospital whenever we need to.
I guess it's a false alarm, honey. Maybe you should have gone to work. Can you go half day? And he was like, no, it's okay. He would rather not risk driving away from home and then having to drive right back. So he said, just for today, we'll take the day off. Sometime around 11 in the morning, my contraction came back, but it was only half an hour apart. We went about our day. We didn't go anywhere. I was just relaxing. So at about 7 p.m. onwards, he noticed that I was sort of laying on the sofa very uncomfortably. He was asking, honey, are you okay? I was like, you know what? My contractions have come back. They're starting to be about 9 minutes apart now, but, I'm going to wait it out. He prepared, what did you do? You prepared dinner.
Oh, you didn't eat much.
Justin was able to eat, but I couldn't. He gave me miso soup. That's all that I could have. I told him that I will try my best, but then it seemed like the contractions were getting the best of me. I was very uncomfortable, but because it was closer together, my contractions were closer together, I was like, yeah, no, maybe we should go tonight just to make sure. It could be a false alarm, but let's go to the hospital just in case. It was getting so painful, so finally Justin was like, he started loading the car up with a hospital bag. He got dressed up. I had to get dressed up too. By the time we left the house to head to the hospital, it was about 10:20 at night of January 15th. So he was like, I still have an hour and a half to go to win this bet. She might come out tonight. We got to the hospital within 10 minutes. I found myself not able to sit comfortably in the car seat. You guys probably watched it. For those of you who haven't checked out our previous video, we have a whole labor and delivery vlog. When we got to the hospital parking lot, I just could not even walk. I was standing but crouching over. I was taking a lot of pauses. I couldn't even leave the car. I was literally holding onto the car's door and I was like, honey, I can't walk. So he's like, I'm grabbing a wheelchair. He went, grabbed me a wheelchair. I was hesitant to sit on it because I'm like, oh my God, like I'm carrying her, so I'm extra heavy. They had to push us both all the way up. So I was like, oh my God, I feel bad for him. I felt so helpless. But he seemed to be very gentle and smooth. He did great. That was a smooth wheelchair ride to the unit, which was like, I would say about 5 minutes away from the parking lot even, right? We went up to the 5th floor labor and delivery unit of the Foothills Medical Center, and that's when we were checking in. And as soon as we got to the 5th floor, I had like a big contraction, so I couldn't even talk. Justin started answering questions for me. They brought me into the unit just to be assessed, and that's when they did vital signs. They asked for urine sample as well. Put me up into a monitor to check baby's heart rate and all that stuff. She seems to be doing fine. They were able to track my contraction, because every time a contraction hit me, I was just bracing myself, like everything had to drop. I had to freeze. I could not move. At the same time, a part of me really wanted to comfort my husband, because I was like, I could tell that he wants to help me, but there's nothing he can do. And I can only imagine what Justin must be going through. Seeing me in pain like that, seeing me helpless like that, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting emotional already. Yeah, I felt helpless and I couldn't help my husband.
Why did you feel helpless? I was the one who was helpless because there's nothing I could do to take your pain away.
Right. But you know me, I worry about you all the time. Why am I crying?
Oh, look at this.
Why am I crying, you guys? Hormones. Huh? They did a cervical exam where they stuck a finger inside me. And then that's when they said I was, 6 centimeters dilated? Which was shocking to me because I know based on my research that 5 centimeters dilation onwards would mean that they would have to transfer you to the labor and delivery room and get you ready for delivery. I told them I'm Group B Strep positive, so they started me on antibiotics right away, and they said, okay, we're gonna move you now to the labor and delivery room. So they moved me, and I was like, honey, this is the part I need your help with. Can you please call my sister or call my mom? Because I need my mom to be there with us in the delivery room, with Justin as well. Then what happened? Mom and she arrived.
At 1 in the morning.
They didn't make me start pushing unless my cervix was dilated all the way to 10 centimeters, or until they could see absolutely no sign of the cervix around her head. They told me in the meantime to just ride through each contraction, just take deep breaths. They also offered me the laughing gas.
Nitrous oxide.
But I didn't know how to use it properly. I was apparently doing it wrong the whole time. The nurse didn't even bother to correct me because she probably felt like that I needed my space. She probably felt like if I needed it, I would have taken a huff and puff from the nitrous oxide. The nurse's instructions were that to keep the tube of the laughing gas inside my mouth, creates a seal with my mouth, and actually breathe in and out through that same pipe or the tube. I didn't catch that. The reason I didn't even need it is because I felt like it did nothing for me at all. She said that it's supposed to help keep me calm through the contractions, but it didn't work for me. I felt like my own personal deep breathing techniques helped. So I did not, we didn't attend any prenatal classes, just use whatever deep breathing technique I know of. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and then with your lips pursed, breathe out through your mouth. That's all. I would use my little niece as my focal point or my happy place because I tried to think of the beach, but that didn't help. I tried to think of date nights with my hubby, but that didn't help either because all those memories, even no matter how happy they made me feel going there, made me feel emotional as well. Because, they're happy memories and they're at the same time were tear jerkers. So yeah, I was like, I can't. It's just going to make me cry and all choked up and everything. So I have to think of something really funny. So I tried to think of my little niece's face because she makes funny faces. And at some point, I totally forgot about the focal point. It was just me focusing on my breathing. That is all it took. And I try not to look forward towards the next contraction. What I did was just focus on the present contraction, deep breathe through it. And then when the next one comes on, deep breathe through that. So I take it one step at a time. I try not to anticipate the next one because I knew if I were to anticipate the next one, it's just going to psychologically make me feel like I'm suffering and that it's extremely painful. Mind over body, mind over body. My sister's advice as well was, do not lose control of pain management technique that I am using. Because she said the moment you lose your control over it, it's hard to regain that control.
Going into the hospital room, our birth plan was whatever happens. So if the pain gets too much and we have to take epidural, we'll take epidural. But if you can manage the pain, then we won't take epidural. That was plan going into the hospital room. And I didn't want to encourage one way or the other because if I were to encourage her to take epidural, that means I'm taking away from her willpower to push through without using medication. But at the same time, that means I am letting her suffer more. So for me, I was torn between two different things.
We weren't going in with a birth plan, but if I were to ask him for an epidural, so I have to specifically ask Justin for the epidural. And if I were to ask him 3 times, after the 3rd time, that's when he should ask on my behalf for the epidural from the doctor and nurses. But not one time did I ask for an epidural, thank goodness, because I would not want him to feel conflicted as well. Honey, I want the epidural. And you're like, Okay, good. That's exactly what I wish you were gonna get because I don't like to see you suffer. You know what I mean? Like I didn't make him feel, I didn't put him in that situation. But I wasn't even thinking about the epidural. I wasn't even thinking that there was a way out of that. I was like, I'm gonna wait for the pain to get worse. I'm just gonna wait for it to get worse. So the main nurse that was in there, her name is Chelsea. She was trying to encourage me to empty out my bladder. She said that it's part of their protocol that when I'm nearing the home stretch, like nearing the actual delivery of the baby, that they need to empty out my bladder because the bladder tends to get in the way and tighten things up for baby's passage to come out through my vagina. She offered, can she do a catheter? And I was like, no, never had a catheter done before, so no thank you. I'm pretty sure I could pee myself. She actually gave me a bedpan and she was like, would you like to try peeing into this? So I said, okay, sure. Because the contractions were so close together, I had no control over my bladder. I mean, every time I think I'm gonna push now to pee, a contraction comes on. So then that just slows everything down. You know, I had this fear of getting a bladder infection because I knew that the chances of getting bladder infection is high if you do like an in and out catheter. I knew it had to be done, so I just put everything in their hands. They did the catheter, and Justin here was able to take a peek at the volume that came out of me, and he said it was a lot.
Like 2 liters.
What the fuck, honey? In hindsight, I'm very grateful now that they knew what they were doing and that they offered a catheterization. They said that my contractions seem really long. Each contraction was lasting about 3 minutes long as well, which is not the norm. The norm would be about a minute, but I must have a high pain tolerance, they say, because I seem to be trooping along. So yeah, it was really encouraging for me to hear that part. I was like, oh, that's so nice of them to like encourage me and tell me, oh, you're doing amazing. Oh, you're doing great. Like, oh my goodness, we had the best healthcare team in that room for sure. So you guys, we noticed in some of the comments that you guys were wondering, not all of you, but a few of you were wondering like, is it just me or Justin should have been more supportive? He should have held my hand and stuff like that. To tell you honestly, he and I have been together for 6 years before having gotten married. And he knows me well enough to know that if I needed help, I would ask for it. He also knows if I needed help and don't ask for it, he knows when to come to my rescue and all that. He also knows exactly when to give me my space.
In the morning of January 15th, 3 in the morning when you're having contractions, I would come over to you and like, hold your hand or something like that. Every time I do that, you says, don't touch me.
I said that?
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Oh, now I feel bad, honey.
That's why I knew that when you're going through your contraction, I should not be near you.
Okay, good call. He knew that that if I needed his help, I would ask for help. I mean, he did offer many times that he would refresh the face cloth, the cool face cloth that was on my head that was helping me through the hot flashes that I was going through that night. I mean, that early morning. But I kept saying, no, it's okay. I'm okay. I can just, flip it over myself or whatnot. He has been my hero the entire time. He knew exactly what I needed. He knew exactly when to give me my space. So yeah, thanks you guys, the rest of you, the rest of our viewers who bothered to respond to those comments in our defense. Thank you so much. Goodness, we knew we could depend on you guys.
You were holding on to the handrail every time you were pushing. And it felt like I was watching Hulk. I thought I was watching She-Hulk. The handrails were bending. It was flexing.
The Hulk?
You're holding on to the handrails on the other side. And when you're pushing, you were bringing the handrails closer to you.
Wow.
And the handrails were bending.
I had no idea.
There you go. Good job. Even more.
I thought the handrails were going to break because you're pulling it in too much.
But thank goodness they made the bed sturdy enough for labor and delivery. My water breaking. Yeah, when my water broke, I didn't know it was my water. I thought I was just bleeding profusely. It was just a warm fluid feeling that came out. It just flowed right out of me. And I'm like, what was that? And they're like, oh, that's your water breaking. I was like, okay, cool. But the healthcare team that night decided not to break my water. They said that, especially my doctor, she said that I was going into spontaneous labor anyway. So she's like, no, let's just let her break her water herself. They say that the contractions get worse once the water has been broken. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to tell if the contraction got worse. A few YouTubers were actually commenting on why did they make you push for that long. And they said that, I don't know if you guys could hear, but the nurse said that that's what they tend to do here in Calgary, is have the women push. It's because they wanted your tissues and organs down there and your vagina and muscles to just sort of spread out.
Gradually stretch.
Yes.
Otherwise you would tear instantly.
So I was anticipating that ring of fire where they say it's the point where baby's head sort of comes out.
It's the part where the largest circumference of the baby's head is at your vagina.
Right. I was expecting that. They said it's the most excruciating burning sensation of pain. So I thought that would be the most painful part. That is possibly when I will need the epidural. But I didn't feel the ring of fire, you guys.
Because Sabrina came out really fast. Her head and her torso came out in an instant.
In one push.
In one push.
Whoa. So that explains why I didn't feel the ring of fire. I felt the biggest sigh, and the sigh of relief when baby actually came out. I didn't know for a fact that she came out at the time. I just felt this huge feeling of relief that overcame me. And I even took like a nice deep breath in and a huge exhalation out. I went like, you guys probably heard it already in the video. That's when they said, oh, she's here, baby's out. And then that's when I looked up at Justin and mom, and I could see that they were crying, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I honestly felt like crying at the same time, like bawling my eyes out, but I was so exhausted that I barely, like I had a tear, and then that was it. The rest of me was just like, okay, I'm gonna pass out now. And what scared me the most in that moment was that I couldn't hear her cry. You know, I was like, that's not a good sign. So I kept asking, is she okay? Is she okay? They're like, yeah, we're just gonna make her cry a little bit here. And then sure enough, she cried. They said they would put her on my chest. It was the most magical feeling, but I kid you not, I could not see her face. I actually couldn't see her face. Maybe from all the pushing, but my eyes were so puffy. They felt tight. I could barely see on my left eye. It was all blurred on my one eye from all the pushing, I guess. And I tried to look down on my chest to see her. All I saw was her head, like a really...
Top of her head.
The top of her head, like really hairy head. And that's all it took to give me a tear in my eye. But I could not. I was like, I want to see her face badly. Does she look like me? Does she look like him? Like, what does she look like? What does our mix look like? But yeah. I went like this and tried to move her head kind of like that. But yeah, she was all cheesy and bloody. She was more cheesy than anything. She had lots of vernix caseosa around her. I just couldn't believe that she came out of me to this day.
The doctor asked, does anybody want to cut the cord? And I said, I will. And my hand was shaking.
I will.
The doctor said, cut anywhere between here and here. And I was trying to cut it. The first time I went for it, I missed it. So I just cut it air.
Are you serious?
And then the second time I went for it, I was able to cut the cord, but not all the way through. So I had to do it again, second time. And then third time, it finally separated.
You said it took like 3 clips or something?
Yeah.
But you said it was chewy?
Yeah, it was chewy. Kind of like cutting a squid.
A squid's tentacle.
Yeah.
I'm actually very impressed and proud of my dear husband here, because he did not pass out. He told me that at the sight of blood at any point, whether it's on TV or whatnot, he would normally feel faint, clammy. So I was expecting that, but he did so well.
Last time I went to hospital because I wanted to visit somebody there, I actually fainted. Just by visiting a friend who was in hospital.
You said it's the smell?
It's the smell of a hospital.
Wow.
As I was walking out of the hospital room after visiting my friend, I collapsed and sat on the floor for a while. Yeah, I got dizzy, I got ringing in my ear.
Oh my goodness.
My vision started to fade.
I'm so proud of you, honey. You did it. How did you do it? Did you forget to faint?
When I saw the baby on Sarah's chest. I choked up a little bit, had a little bit of tears running down my eyes.
He had a lot of
just the
tears.
corner of my eyes.
No, he had a lot of tears.
No, just the corner.
I don't know about the tears, but his face was definitely crying. You were like...
My body was shaking too much, so I had to like brace myself because my body was shaking so much.
From?
I don't know, just excitement or nervousness of the baby. I don't know what it was.
Not fear.
It wasn't fear.
Not feeling faint.
No.
Okay, good.
Our baby finally made it to this world.
Because we've been staring at an empty bassinet for so long. Oh, so I asked them whether they needed me to push shortly after baby came out. I said, do you guys need me to push the placenta out? And they're like, no, you don't need to do anything. Just enjoy your baby. We'll take care of the rest. I ended up with 2nd-degree tears, which is like the skin and muscle, tear to the skin and muscle. They said it was just pretty average that they have seen, so they just stitched me up. So for pain management, they were offering me Advil and Tylenol, but I only opted for the Advil, generic name ibuprofen, because with ibuprofen, that helps not just with pain relief, but also helps with the reduction of inflammation and swelling down there, because after delivery, apparently everything's swollen and just sore down there. So I asked for that every time they would offer it. I did not ask for Tylenol because I knew that, well, Tylenol tends to make you bleed a little more too. Like the side effect of Tylenol too is a bit of a blood thinning factor to it. So I didn't want to bleed out anymore. I was just like, I just want the inflammation to get, to sort of be relieved.
How long have you been taking the ibuprofen?
I took ibuprofen only for 4 days since the day she was born. They call them padsicles, so iced pads, sanitary pads that they offered me. They only offered it to me one time. After that, I didn't feel like using it anymore because I actually could feel the cold. You know how like you get a bit of pain instead of relief when you have ice directly in contact with your skin for way too long? That's how that felt. So I was like, this is not helping. I mean, sure, it's supposed to give me relief at first, but then as time went on, the freezing sort of became more uncomfortable and more painful. So yeah, I did not ask for an ice pad after that. And also, my sister bought me a lidocaine spray with aloe vera, which I only started using at home, and I think I only used it for 2 days. I didn't realize this, but after giving birth, because of the 9 months of not having had your period, they say to anticipate about 6 weeks of period-like discharge coming out of you. So that's pretty much what I'm going through right now. And I'm able to walk even. Having to sit down and to get up, those movements are what was sort of triggering the pain down there. But it's not unbearable, like I said. Labor and delivery, it was still the hardest part and the most painful experience I've had. But I wouldn't say it's impossible to do.
That's it for labor and delivery recap. And now we're going to move on to shoutouts to our YouTubers who gave us gifts.
So Carly Johnson gifted us with these really adorable headbands right there. Oh, look how cute they are. So these are 3 pieces. They came off of our Amazon registry. No, thank you, Carly.
From Ladonia West of Stone Mountain, Georgia has sent us 8-piece baby towels.
Ooh, which you already used.
She said, enjoy your gift from Ladonia.
Thanks. You, Ladonia.
From
Sylvie Sereni. Dear Justin and Sarah, thank you for sharing your journey. It has been so touching. From one parent to another, enjoy every stage with Sabrina. You are wonderful parents. From Sylvie Sereni. Aw, thank you, Sylvie.
And Sylvie from New Hampshire gave us 5-piece, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-piece
burp cloths
Burp cloth.
/ washcloths.
It's very soft. It's
Muslin, yum,
muslin.
yum, yum. Very nice.
So thank you, Sylvie.
It's just what we needed, Sylvie, because that's what we lack, actually.
And Sylvie also sent us
A Jolly Jumper nursing
cushion.
pillow.
Jolly Jumper nursing pillow.
Wee.
And she
Wakey,
said,
wakey, wakey.
Dear Justin and Sarah, congratulations on baby Sabrina. So looking forward to watching your lovely family evolve via your YouTube videos. From Sylvie.
Thank you, Sylvie.
Thank you, Sylvie.
Wee, Look at this girl.
That's it for the gift section.
So yeah, thanks you guys for watching us and for following us and for liking, commenting, subscribing to our videos, for all your love and support and well wishes when it comes to our labor and delivery vlog. We truly appreciate and enjoy reading your comments and well wishes. We feel so loved and so blessed. Thank you so much. That's Sabrina. Can you see her? Ooh, she's moving. That's Sabrina. Looks just like her papa. Eee, she likes to make faces. There she is. Kisses. Oh, I love her so much. I think she's smiling. She's trying to smile. Kind of. She has my lips, you guys. Even though the rest of her is Justin. Right, honey?
Alright, thanks for watching, and remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Bye.
Love you.